Hello SLAPAFISH community, welcome back to another one, Tanks console video. So in this video, I'm going to be driving the M4A1 FL10, a tier 6 French medium tank that just came out, I believe it was Tuesday. And basically, let's just go over this tank, go over the crews, the skills I have on the tank, and the equipment. I do also want to say I have 2 matches lined up for this tank. 2 ways you could play the tank: a sniper role, which is the first one, so I can go over the crew, the equipment, and how to play the tank. And the second one is just being an attack, being up in the front lines. Also, both matches are pretty much mid-tier. I could not get a top-tier match because this is a tier 6. It's really hard to get a top-tier match with a tier 6. So both of the matches, the highest tier in each game is tier 7. So I wanted to go ahead and point that out there. Also, if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing because it helps the channel out a ton. And thank you for subscribing if you do. And yeah, also it's free, so why not? Anyway, let's go over the equipment and crew skills I have on the tank. Now, my equipment is advanced optics, advanced concealment, gunling drive, and the enhanced target info. My skills is actually the born leader, rapid loading, sixth sense, camouflage expertise, situational awareness, green thumb, muffle shot, run and gun, and steady aim. So I also would put silent driving on this tank, but I would highly recommend put silent driving on the tank. But this is my Batchat 12T crew, so silent driving doesn't work on a light tank, so yeah. Anyway, that's why I'm not using silent driving. So this tank, it may look very familiar to y'all, which is the Jackal. There's a tank. It's a tier 7 British medium tank that plays very similar. It's very similar to this tank. It's the tier 7 Jackal, which is a British medium tank, but it also trains British and French crews for free. So that's nice to have, so you don't need the gold transfer. That's the Jackal, which is a tier 7 medium tank, and this is a tier 6 French medium tank that only trains French crews. So basically, this came from PC, and this is like PC's variant of the Jackal. And I would so much rather play the Jackal than this tank. Anyway, let's get on to like the crew, like the stats of this tank. So this tank has a terrible 6 degrees of gun depression. Like, you are a big tank, you have 6 degrees of gun depression. Like, this is the lowest I can depress my gun. And you'll see through both of these replays where that 6 degrees of gun depression is just not enough. On this tank, it's just not enough. But bright side of this tank, it does have a 4-shot autoloader gun, which is pretty nice to have. It reloads pretty decently. It has a terrible DPM of 1,393, which is it's terrible. But it is a 4-shot autoloader that does 135 damage per shot, 540 damage per clip, and the inner clip reload is 1.8 seconds. The pin's okay for a tier 6. It's 148 on standard and 186 on its premium. Aim time is 2.3, which is longer than your inner clip reload, which is terrible, so you would really want to bring that aim time down so you can get your aim time shorter than your inner clip reload. Your accuracy is 0.4, which is completely terrible, and you'll see me miss so many shells just because of how bad the accuracy is and how slow the aim time is on this tank. Now, right here, I do want to mention, this is a 43 Black Prince. This is basically a Black Prince at tier 6. My plan is I'm going to flank the A43 Black Prince. Also, I forgot to tell you, this tank is really slow at turning, and this is why this happens. I'm turning as much as I can and trying to outrun the tank's gun, but the AMX 1357 just happened to stay right there. Just happened to be there when I was trying to outrun the gun. And I was trying to get out of his way. But I happened to run the 1357 over. So, oops. Didn't mean to. It just happened to be like that. Because I was just trying to outrun that gun. And trying not to die. So, sorry, Mr. 8. Sorry, Mr. AMX 1357. So, either way, we got second place. 1,700 damage. Second of the team. I just said that. 251 assists. And made 51,000 silver. Because you have a 22% silver bonus. And a 30% XP bonus on this tank. So, okay. So, our second match is going to be on Abby. And this one's going to be I'm going to be more in the front line of this one. So, you get to see the tank be more aggressive. You get to see the tank, its full potential of its gun, its inner clip, its autoloader. In the last match, I showed you how accurate the gun could be and how inaccurate the gun could be. Because it's not really good at sniping, which kind of feels like it should be a sniper, but it's just terrible at sniping. I also just noticed the view range absolutely sucks at 360 meters. That's terrible. Even terrible for a tier 6. You are completely blind in this tank. Armor. You are a very big tank. You have absolutely no armor. Your turret armor is 40 at the front. Your whole armor is 50 at the front. Everything is going to pin through you. I mean, you can somewhat angle, but you're not going to bounce any shots in this tank. You only have 810 hit points. So yeah. So it's kind of, you're like, okay, two ways to play this tank. Be that sniper. You can be the sniper. You can camo up and just put all the accuracy perks on this tank and just snipe all the time in this tank. Or you can put a whole bunch of vision perks on this tank. Put your reload as fast as it can go with, I think it's steady aim. The one that's the driving perk. If you're driving on the move, the accuracy gets better. I think that's steady aim. And you can use your speed. There's two ways to play the tank. Be completely accurate and snipe, or just be the second way of just taking the chance of your whole armor and just ramping up your DPM on this tank and view range and speed of this tank to being the front line. I mean, not front line. To be a support tank. Basically, we're fighting tier 6s. I am getting absolutely destroyed. Nothing's bouncing. Luckily, I have a VK3601H. No, it's the Sturm VK. Luckily, I have him to block all the shells. If I was just by myself, I would have definitely died. So right here, I was hoping the Sturm would fall back, but he didn't want to fall back. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to abandon the Sturm. I'm going to flank around, and hopefully I can flank around and just put 4 shots into the enemy team before they know what happened to them. Because I have a pretty decent inner clip reload. Also, if you didn't notice, our team's down by like 6 tanks. We have 4 tanks remaining. The enemy team has 10. And there's 2 or 3 tanks right here. I have 364 hit points. Our Sturm is almost dead. And boop. Boop. Dead. So we took out the T-3485M. And we also took out the KV-1. So that brought it to a 4v6. So now, what do we do? Now it's the 3v6 because we just lost our Tiger 1. Now it's just try to get the win or just try to do as much damage as possible. Because our tank destroyer is a T-67. He's almost dead. I'm half health, and our Sturm behind me is very low on health. And there's 6 tanks. There's double the amount of tanks on the enemy team still remaining. I have terrible view range. I'm not going to outspot people. And there's a super Hellcat. And there's the accuracy just playing with me. Because that one shell is going to make all the difference in the game. It really is. I missed that shell. I would have put him down to a 1-shot for me. Because that T-67 actually put a shell into him. If I actually did damage to him, that one shell hit him. He would be down to like 30 hit points. Okay? 30 hit points. That's where he would be. But no. There's an SG-100 that completely surprises me. And I was like, okay, my plan right there is to push around the corner, kill the Super Hellcat, catch the Super Hellcat off guard, and just kill him. But it didn't work. SG-100 came up to support the Super Hellcat. Luckily, our Sturm shut down the SG-100 and the Super Hellcat. And I'm just going to skip forward in this match, so you don't have to figure out what's happening. I'll just skip forward. So shortly later, here's a T-37. Our Sturm messes up and drives up a rock and gets itself killed. Good play by the Sturm until that point. But either way, that was a defeat on Abbey. We made 44,000 silver. We got second again, did 1,600 damage. And that's it for this video. If you like this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Also, remember to SLAPAFISH because why would you not? And I do want to say, if you have the Jackal, don't buy this tank.